Hey, it's Andrew Huang. Ableton Push 3 just came out, and I'm going to show you everything that is new about it. Thank you to Ableton for giving me early access to this unit and sponsoring this video. Been an Ableton user for 20 years, been a Push user since version 1, so this is super exciting to me. If you like Push 1 or Push 2, you will love Push 3. It does all the same stuff, but also adds some completely new things that could step up your workflow in Ableton or even just in your studio in general. It's got a bunch more dedicated controls. The pads now have MIDI polyphonic expression, and look at what I have connected to it here. Some audio cables, because there is now a built-in audio interface. And if you look at what else I have connected here, there's absolutely nothing, because it can now work battery powered and standalone. So that's a game changer, and there are so many other improvements and additions. Let me walk you through it all. So first of all, we've got this nice new big Jogwheel, which is handy for navigating. Obviously, you can scroll with it, you can tap to make a selection, and then you can nudge it to the right and to the left, and that does different things depending on the context. Here in the browser, as you can see, it goes up a folder. You can still navigate the old way with the arrow keys here, but they've added in the middle of those this button to make your selection, where the way it used to be, this button would change into a load button. So faster navigation all around. I think the major thing to highlight with the Jogwheel is that there is a more robust note editor. So if I go to clip view here, I can navigate around with the Jogwheel and I can select different notes. Whichever one that I hover on, I can tap on, and then I can edit those. Push 3's pads are now MPE enabled, so if you're using an MPE sound, you can hold down a pad and slide up and down it for different expressions. You can also press down on it. Moving left to right on a pad gives you a bit of vibrato. And you can slide left to right across pads for pitch bends. You can adjust some of the MPE settings, so the width and the height of the sliding can be adjusted, and there's also a finger mode or a pad mode. If you're in pad mode, then tuning is absolute. You have to be really careful about where you're hitting on the pads. And if you're in finger mode, it means that wherever you first hit on a pad, it will be in tune to the scale that you've set, and then as you slide, it will bend relatively. Fun little tip with this setup, you can just slide your finger around in random shapes. Great way to end a solo. So the MPE stuff is especially well integrated into the new drift synth that comes with the latest Ableton update, but it does work with any MPE enabled instrument. Another cool thing though is what Ableton is calling expressive kits. So you can have a drum rack where every pad is a MIDI polyphonic instrument. One fun little expressive way of playing that I kind of stumbled on is if you turn on repeats, then every note that you hold down repeats at the division of the beat that you've set, and this combined with the MPE is a really fun way to play beats. So, standalone mode. Push 3 can operate without being connected to your computer, and it has a battery in it, so you don't have to even have it plugged into power. And this is actually an optional feature, so if you don't care about it, you can save money, or if you get the non-standalone version of Push, there's actually an upgrade kit and you can install it later. Ableton also told me there's other upgrade options they're planning, like you can increase the processor speed and the hard drive size, things like that. So what does standalone mode actually mean? In many ways, it's the same as if you had had the push connected to a computer. It's just that it's not connected. There is Ableton inside the push. I haven't been connected to a computer for this whole video, so you've seen me browse stuff, add instruments, play and record notes, launch clips. All of that can happen wherever you want to take Push 3 unconnected to anything. The two big things I'd say you miss from the desktop Ableton experience are that you can't use third-party plugins on the Push 3 standalone, and also you don't really have access to arrangement view. It's very much a session view based workflow where you're working with different clips and scenes. But of course, any project you start in Push standalone, you can transfer over to live. They've added some stuff that helps with Push being standalone, like if you press Shift and a track name, you can see you've got access to renaming, grouping, freezing, and flattening right on the device. In the browser, you can now go up a level from before and look at sets. So, here's a bunch of my live sets. If you go to the settings page and you hit Control Live and you're connected with the USB-C to the computer, then it switches to the classic use case of Push as a control surface for live. Push 3 can also connect to Wi-Fi, so if you're on the same network as your computer that has Ableton on it, that's how you're able to transfer sets and presets and samples between the device and your computer. All right, so now let's talk about the audio interface. You get two 1/4-inch jacks. You can choose between 3 different gain settings. There's also different sample rates going up to 96K. You can link the 2 channels for a stereo device that you might want to record, and you can route your outputs as you like. There's also ADAT connections on the back of Push, so with those you can actually add an additional 8 tracks in and out. And then built into Push 3, there are 2 1/4-inch output jacks and 1 1/4-inch headphone jack. And one new little detail, the volume knob is now an encoder, so pushing it switches between the different outputs. For connectivity, you've got MIDI in and out on 1/8-inch jacks. So for instance, you could connect a regular keyboard if you don't want to use the pads for entering notes, or you can use Push Standalone as a MIDI sequencer. So if you like the way Ableton works as a sequencer, you know how you enter notes with the pads, or all the different clips that you can use, the probability, velocity, note editing. You basically get all of Ableton's MIDI power without having to touch a computer if you don't want to. There is a USB-A connector, so you can connect certain types of external synths and MIDI controllers there. You can also use it with a hub, so if you plug a USB hub into there, you can connect multiple devices to Push. And not only that, if Push is connected to your computer, then all of those devices through the hub will also be connected to your computer. There are 2 pedal jacks on Push, and that's not a new feature for Push 3, but they are now able to be switched into CV outs. And they are stereo, so if you use TRS cables, you can actually have 2 CV signals per pedal jack. There is a dedicated capture button, so if you don't know about that feature in Ableton, if you're just messing around on MIDI and you're not recording, it's still always listening, and anytime you hit capture, it shows you all the stuff you were just playing and also automatically loops the last little chunk. Here it's doing 2 bars because I have my fixed length set to 2 bars. I'm gonna quantize this. We've also got a dedicated hot swap button, so here I can just change this sound out to something else and see what it sounds like. There is now a lock button for the solo, mute, and stop clip functions. So if you got your clips playing, you can hold solo and press the track button to solo. Same thing with mute, of course, and then same thing with stopping whatever clip is playing. But if you want to lock any of those, for instance, we'll lock muting. Now, it just stays on mute. You don't have to hold it down while you engage those functions. A handy performance feature. There's now a learn button up here. There's a little light bulb where there are a few different things that you can learn. And I think they're planning on continuing to add to this. So it's just like handy little mini manuals if you want to get to know Push better. Last new button, I'm using it right now. There is an option for the screen to display session view, all of the clips that you have, while you can use the pads in note view or, whatever different layout you want. So you can keep an overview of your session while playing things in live on the pads, and you can still navigate and launch individual clips with the arrows, or you can use the Jogwheel for launching whole scenes. Thanks again to Ableton for sponsoring this video. Push 3 is available at ableton.com, and you can subscribe here for more music fun. My camera is at 1%. Amazing, we did it. All right, I'll see you next time. Leave a comment, drop a like, do the things.